Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Value of the Phoenix podcast. My name is Patrice and I hope that you guys are doing well. For today's episode, I wanted to talk about taking responsibility for our actions in our life. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it's something that's so entrenched in, when you're on a self-concept journey. Self-concept means idea of self. So a lot of it is to do with you and how you deal with situations and how you react to certain things as opposed to like other people basically. So yes, I wanted to talk about that. So when I first learnt about the law of assumption, this was one of the parts of it that really blew my mind. And I think it's the fact that it made me feel really empowered. And the reason that it made me feel so empowered is the fact that it gave me back control in my life at a point where I kind of felt like everything was out of control. And the reason why I felt like it was out of control was because I didn't know how to control my emotions. I didn't know how to control my reaction to certain things. And so that led me to feel out of control in certain aspects of my life. And the thing that kind of changed things for me, I would say, is when I really understood the idea of everyone is you pushed out. And that basically just means that the dominant beliefs and thoughts that you have about others is essentially how they will show up in your life. And at first I was like, this is so strange, trying to understand that concept, because in your mind you just think, well, people just behave the way that they behave because that's how they behave. But once I really understood the way that your perception works, and also the way that your subconscious mind works in terms of constantly showing you evidence of your dominant beliefs, whether they are true or not, that was when I was like, wow, this all makes sense for me. And one of the examples that I want to give is when I used to work at one of my old jobs, and there was a guy there that literally, when I tell you, this guy used to annoy me so much, almost to the point where if I saw him come in and he came over and spoke to me and my friends, I would literally be sitting there with gritted teeth oh my god, this guy gets, he just really irritated me, really irritated me. And it was so funny because everyone else was like, oh, he's so nice, he's so funny, he's so this, he's so that. And I used to be like, are you guys kidding me? This guy is so annoying. He literally gets on my nerves. How do you guys not see that? And I realized it was because of my perception of him. I had a perception that he was annoying. Everyone else had a perception that he was amazing. That was literally the only difference. And when I look back on it now, I feel like one of the reasons that I found him annoying was because he actually reminded me of someone from my past who I also found annoying. So clearly there was traits in him that I found annoying, whereas other people, they just didn't see those traits in him as annoying. And it's so true what they say, that everything in life is neutral until you give it meaning. Everything. So something that you can find so funny, so interesting because of how you view it, someone else might look at that and be like, that's not interesting at all. That's not funny at all. And this is why everyone is so different. And the reason why everyone is so different is because of their upbringing, their childhood, their perceptions, all of the events that they've been through in their life. That's what gives you your own perceptions of life. It's just like how, for example, you might have someone who feels like their day's gonna go wrong. Let's say they have a lucky pen that they use in exams, and on their final exam of that year, they lose their lucky pen. They are going into that exam thinking, shit, I don't have my lucky pen, which means that I'm not going to do well. And so because of that, they probably won't do well, because their mind has already decided that they're not going to do well. Whereas if they just said, you know what, yes, it's my lucky pen, but it is what it is. I still believe that I can do this. I will be fine. They probably will still do well in that exam. It's all about perception, and you have a responsibility for how you perceive things. And one of the great things about being on a self-concept journey is that through working on your self-concept, any of the bad perceptions or the negative dominant beliefs that you have, you can actually change them. You can change them if you really want to. You just have to put in the work to be able to change them. So yeah, let's talk about taking responsibility. So in life, you are the only you, and therefore you need to be responsible for you. Once I realized that everything that kind of happened in my adult life, because obviously when you're a child and you're a teenager and things like that, yes, there's certain parts of it that you are responsible for, but ultimately it's different. When you're an adult, a fully grown adult, you are obviously responsible for your actions. And when I truly understood that, it's really strange because it actually helped me to stop self-blaming. And I know you're probably thinking, hold on, but you're taking responsibility for your actions. Of course you would blame yourself. But once you realize that self-blame doesn't really get you anywhere, self-blame is basically to do with shame and not being able to process things from an understanding standpoint. So once I started understanding why I behave the way that I behave, or why I did behave the way that I behaved, why I did react the way that I reacted, it allowed me to understand myself a lot more, which helped to take away that kind of self-blame aspect of things. And I do think that that is probably one of the most difficult things to do. But when you start understanding yourself and you learn how to practice self-forgiveness, it makes it a whole lot easier for you to take responsibility, but in a more constructive way. So just like you would give your friend constructive criticism, you're able to also do that for yourself as well, which I think is super, super important. Self-blame does not get anyone anywhere. It is so rooted in shame, embarrassment, and those feelings are not going to get you to the next level of self. Basically, those feelings will keep you stuck and will keep you blaming yourself over and over again, rather than learning to self-forgive and move on. You can't control the past. All you can do is just be better in the present, which will then in turn lead you to do better in the future. One of the quotes that has really helped me on my self-concept journey is the fact that you can control how you react to things. And so whether things are going good, whether things are going bad, it is your responsibility to control how you react. And it has taught me so much patience. It has taught me how to regulate my emotions. It has essentially taught me how to deal with difficult situations. And the reason for that is because when you're in control of how you react to things, you get to decide. You get to decide whether you're going to let this thing affect you in a negative way or in a positive way. And honestly, it has just helped me to just become a lot more optimistic. It has helped me to deal with difficult situations a lot easier. And it has also helped me to just take responsibility for the parts that I have played in aspects of my life. So for example, I can look back on situations from the past and understand that yeah, that person may have done X, Y, and Z, but I also done X, Y, and Z. I allowed that to continue, or I didn't stand on business when it came to how I truly felt, or I did or didn't value myself or my opinion in that situation. And it actually just helps you to look at things from a different standpoint, because now you can go forward and say, okay, cool, that's how I reacted before, and I didn't like the way that I felt after. So going forward, this is how I'm going to deal with those kind of situations. That is the game changer. Being able to look at a situation that has occurred in the past and know, okay, going forward, this is how I'm going to react. This is how I'm going to deal with that situation. And ultimately, that kind of thinking will help you in difficult situations to come, or uncomfortable situations to come, or even like positive situations to come. That thinking just completely changes how you view situations. And so for anyone out there who finds, the concept of everyone is you pushed out quite like difficult to deal with, it is to do with your perception. It's to do with how you view the situation. And ultimately, if you want to change the situation, you need to change your perception of it. Sometimes in life, it can be very easy to point the finger and say, you did this, you did this, you did that. And that doesn't really get you anywhere in life, because whilst you're there pointing the finger, you're not actually looking at how you can improve as a person, or what you could have done better, or what you could have done different. You're too busy pointing the finger at everyone else, not realizing that you also play a part in how you view situations as well. Whether you realize it or not, you do. So by understanding the responsibility that you hold for yourself, you will then start to see a difference in your life. I know that sometimes life can be really difficult, and sometimes it can feel quite overwhelming. Like when you're on a self-concept journey, it can almost be like a bit annoying, because it's like, oh, I have to go within, I have to look at what I done, blah, blah, blah. When really deep down, you just want to shift the responsibility onto other people. But when you do that, you're actually giving a lot of your power away. This is why I said, when I understood the concept of everyone is you pushed out, it made me feel a lot more empowered, and it made me feel a lot more in control of my life, as opposed to all of these things going on and I don't have any responsibility, I don't have anything to do with it, and things are just happening in my life just because. It made me feel really like, that kind of thinking made me feel really powerless, and I don't ever want to think like that ever again. Trust me. Like, now that I have the knowledge, it has just really opened my mind to everyone is you pushed out, and the fact that like I have to take responsibility for my actions. I can't just blame other people and just go through life blaming other people, because I'm telling you now, if you do that, you will end up having a victim mentality, and that is a mentality that you do not want to have. Trust me, because it will stop you from going after things that you want to go after. It will constantly have you in a state of blaming other people. It will make you feel less powerful. It will make you feel like you're not in control of your life. And it's also just not a nice feeling to be in, when it's like constantly just like, you done this to me, you done that to me. Like, it just feels very pessimistic and powerless mentality to be in. And I don't want you guys to feel like that. I want you guys to, take control. I want you guys to take responsibility for the part that you've played in your life, but also be optimistic and encourage yourself to want to do better. Whereas with a victim mentality, it's very easy to not want to do better for yourself, because you just want to blame other people. So yeah, guys, learning to take responsibility for your actions is very, very important on your self-concept journey. And when you don't do that, it is really rooted in your limiting beliefs. And if you are someone that is not entirely sure what your limiting beliefs are, or you don't know where to start with them, we do have an ebook on our website which can help you to identify and challenge your limiting beliefs. So yes, guys, I hope that this was insightful for you, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening. Bye.